stretching, rising, and shaping into what many described as a tall series of sharp orange beams were seen slicing through the sky, cutting through the clouds in was what people saw inside it. Some said it looked like a giant portal opening.
What could make the sky and the earth change all at once, like nothing we've ever seen before? In just a short time, floods come rushing in. Clouds twist and warp. Strange lights tear across the sky, and shapes that shouldn't be there suddenly appear clearly right in front of people's eyes. Fierce floods swallow up the city. Clouds roll like waves. Figures of people show up in the clouds. Gates of light open. The city floats in the air. A round hole is carved deep into the sky. A ring of fire turns slowly. The sky shakes. A rainbow appears in the middle of the night. 10 signs, but one common feeling: the world is moving into a different stage. And the real answer comes the day before. If you're feeling uneasy too, please leave a prayer in the comments as a way to show you're still listening to the Lord's warnings. Amen. Now, so you don't have to wait long, let's get started right away with 1. Severe floods like waterfalls in Chile. Disaster hits hard, swallowing everything. Water comes rushing down from above, not in rivers or streams, but spilling over every usual boundary. In central and northern Chile, heavy rains came one after another and turned whole neighborhoods into raging torrents. Streets disappeared in just a few hours. In that moment, we see that nature isn't following the old patterns anymore. Local reports and weather agencies say water levels rose 6 to 10 feet in a short time, especially along rivers like the Maipo and Salado. The water carried mud, rocks, trees, and debris from the Andes slopes. It flooded highways and swept cars away like toys. People who saw it described a loud, constant roar, the ground shaking, and houses breaking apart as the water slammed in without warning. Chile has had many years of long drought. The ground got hard and cracked, so it couldn't soak up heavy rain anymore. When El Niño mixes with rising global temperatures, snow and ice melt faster on the Andes, sending huge amounts of water down into the valleys at a speed that's hard to control. Climate reports show these extreme rain events in the area are happening more often than in past decades, and each one causes more damage. Matthew 24:7 gives the warning: nation will rise against nation. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Reading those words now, with roaring floods and land collapsing, it's hard not to feel a chill at how closely the ancient words match what's happening today. Environmental experts say this is the natural result of climate change and city planning that hasn't kept up with the new reality. They warn that if this keeps going, communities along rivers and near mountains will face bigger and bigger risks, even in places that used to feel safe. Science reports say just a few extra inches of rain in a short time can trigger a chain of flash floods and landslides. Luke 21:25 talks about the sea roaring and the waves tossing, not just as a picture of nature, but as a sign of unrest spreading around the world. What's happening in Chile isn't alone. It's part of a bigger pattern of extreme events showing up everywhere. Even when explained by science, the power and frequency of these floods still serve as a serious reminder of how limited we are against nature. Revelation 16:18-19 says, "Then came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and the cities of the nations collapsed." When water wipes everything away in minutes, the question remains, is this just one isolated disaster, or the start of bigger changes waiting ahead? 2. Strange asperitas clouds looking like bumpy mountains over Fort Walton Beach, Florida. The sky at Fort Walton Beach didn't just get dark like before a regular rain. It changed shape. Thick, heavy clouds suddenly dropped low, rolling into rough, uneven layers like upside-down rocky mountains hanging overhead. The peaceful beach suddenly felt stunned. No rain came right then, no strong wind either, just a sky that looked like it was twisting itself, warning that something unusual was coming. Fort Walton Beach sits right on the Gulf of Mexico. so folks there are used to tropical storms and rough weather. But what showed up that day wasn't like the usual cloud layers. These were asperitas clouds, a rare type only officially recognized by the World Meteorological Organization in 2017. Instead of lying flat or building up high, asperitas clouds form deep waves, rough and chaotic, making the sky look like the ocean flipped upside down. From what people saw on the ground, these clouds spread out for miles, covering the sky above the beach for several minutes. Sunlight got bent and twisted, creating patches of light and dark that made folks below feel a bit lost. A lot of people pulled out their phones to record it, not just because it was pretty, but because it felt like something rare we shouldn't miss, a sign that doesn't come around often. Acts 2:19 says clearly, "I will show wonders in the heavens above and signs on the earth below." Blood and fire and billows of smoke. When the sky stops being just background weather and becomes the main thing grabbing attention and stirring fear, that warning feels like it fits right over what we're seeing. On social media, videos of the asperitas clouds in Florida spread fast. Some said it was just lighting effects, CGI, or edited tricks. Others called it a rare but totally natural event. Meteorologists stepped in and confirmed it's a real atmospheric pattern, often showing up before strong thunderstorm systems tied to serious instability in the upper air layers. They kept their tone neutral and scientific, but even they admitted how rare and extreme this kind looked. Matthew 24-29 warns, "Immediately after the distress of those days, the sun will be darkened, and the moon will not give its light." The clouds didn't completely block the sun, but they made the light warped, weak, and unsteady, enough to make you feel like the normal order is getting shaken up. Isaiah 13:10 goes on, "The stars of heaven and their constellations will not show their light when the sky no longer feels protective and starts causing unease instead." That message doesn't seem so far away. Whether explained by science or argued about online, those asperitas clouds over Fort Walton Beach left a strong impression. The sky can change its shape, and those changes often come before big shifts. When the clouds finally cleared, the question isn't whether they were natural, it's what might come after that unsettled sky. 3. A figure appeared faintly and mysteriously in the clouds at a Florida beach. Sunset over the Florida coast brought a moment that seemed to slow time itself. Among the changing colors of the clouds, a huge shape slowly emerged, its outlines clearly reminding people of a tall figure standing high above. The last light of day sketched that form for just a few short minutes, long enough to make everyone look up with a chill running down their spine, as if the line between the visible world and the unseen had just opened. This kind of thing happens in coastal areas that are used to the sky playing tricks on the eyes. The slanting sun at sunset casts long shadows, low clouds bend with the sea breeze, and our brains easily connect light and dark patches into familiar shapes. Still, this time the image was on a whole different scale, estimated hundreds of feet tall, standing apart against the darkening sky, leaving a far stronger impression than ordinary clouds. Witnesses say the figure started out blurry, then sharpened into what looked like a giant person with arms outstretched, before slowly blending back into the clouds as the light faded completely. Feelings spread quickly, from amazement to awe, and some people stayed quiet for a long time afterward. When you look at that image, do you see it as just a trick of the light, or something more meaningful calling out to us? Daniel 7:13 once recorded a powerful image. "I saw in the night visions, and behold, one like the Son of Man coming with the clouds of heaven." Those ancient words link the figure of a person with clouds, power, and arrival from on high, leading many to believe the sky sometimes becomes a screen for messages beyond ordinary understanding. Revelation 1-7 goes further. "Behold, he is coming with the clouds, and every eye will see him." When people place those words next to this giant figure that appeared and then vanished, many believers see it as a key that unlocks deeper meaning, pointing to a sacred presence shown through the most familiar part of the sky. Scientists look at it differently. Meteorologists and psychologists point to pareidolia, the brain's quick way of spotting patterns to help us survive. Twilight light, high humidity, and layered clouds create perfect conditions for visual illusions. Meanwhile, people of faith notice the shared emotions in the crowd, the exact timing, and the symbolic shape, seeing it as more than pure chance. Whether viewed through science or faith, this figure in the clouds has quietly planted a question in many minds. If the sky is really speaking in symbols, what will the next message look like? And is humanity ready to receive it? 4. Sharp orange beams cut straight across the Utah sky. A photo spread like wildfire. The Utah sky sliced in two by these cold, sharp orange lights, perfectly straight, like metal blades cutting through the dark clouds. The lights just hung there for a few minutes, so orderly it gave you chills, almost like some huge machine running high above. Have you ever seen lights in the sky that precise before? It happened in Utah, a place well known for military bases and big testing grounds. Hill Air Force Base and Dugway Proving Ground have drawn attention many times for special training exercises. In that setting, these straight, even deep orange streaks standing out against the dark sky made the whole thing quickly feel like more than just an ordinary sight. Witnesses said the beams cut across the clouds at what looked like thousands of feet up, stretching on steadily before fading away. They didn't look like regular planes, and there was no wild movement, just this calm order that made people think something was being controlled on purpose. Everything was dead quiet, which only made the feeling stronger that something was going on up there. Luke 21:11 talks about signs in the heavens. There will be great signs and strange signs from heaven. Folks often see that verse as a hint, a different way to look at unusual light events, where the sky becomes more than just background. It carries a message. Some connected the picture to Ezekiel 1-4, where the prophet describes a vision of bright light, orderly motion, and real power. I looked, and behold, a stormy wind came out of the north. A great cloud with fire flashing forth and brightness all around it. The settings are different, but the feeling of that vision has a lot of people thinking hard. Opinions split fast. The skeptics say it was just training flares, drones, or some optical effect from the special desert air in Utah. The believers pointed to how almost perfectly straight and precise the beams were, plus that cold feeling you got watching them. Others just laughed it off, calling it another case of group imagination in the social media age. Matthew 24-27 adds another layer. For as the lightning comes from the east and shines as far as the west, so will be the coming of the Son of Man. The words don't prove anything. They just open the door to the idea that lights in the sky can sometimes mean more than simple physics. Whether you explain it with technology or read it as a sign, those orange beams over Utah left an empty spot in people's minds that's hard to fill. When the lights finally faded, the question still hung there. If this was only the surface, what deeper part of the picture is still waiting to show itself? Tonight, 5. The sky opened up with a mysterious human face in the clouds. A huge cloud suddenly swirled in the middle of the sky. The center lit up like something had hollowed it out, and right there in the bright spot, lines appeared that looked just like a person's face. In just a few hours, the picture spread all over social media, and a wave of unease followed. The sight went way beyond a normal cloud and touched on that deep, hidden fear of the unseen world. The photo shows thick clouds gathered into a round shape, with the edges glowing bright like a halo. Inside, you could clearly see dark and light patches that suggested a forehead, eyes, and the bridge of a nose. The light kept changing as the sun moved, making the face look sharp one moment and fuzzy the next, almost like it was watching from some other place. Even staring at it on a screen, you still get that cold chill down your spine, even though the whole thing only lasted a few short minutes in the sky. Revelation 4:1 gives a familiar key for many believers. After this I looked, and there before me was a door standing open in heaven. And the voice I had first heard speaking to me, like a trumpet, said, "Come up here." The image of the sky opening with light in the center is often seen as a symbol of the crossing between two realms. Not a physical explanation, but something that makes you think about spiritual things. John 1:51 adds even more depth. "Very truly, I tell you, you will see heaven open and the angels of God ascending and descending on the Son of Man." When you put them side by side, a lot of people feel these strange cloud shapes aren't just tricks of wind and light. They're reminders of the connection between earth and heaven, something that's always there but rarely shows itself so clearly. From a science point of view, some folks online say it's pareidolia combined with high clouds like altocumulus, plus the way light scatters. Our brains love to spot faces in random patterns, especially when the contrast is strong. That view focuses on psychology and weather, calling it a visual coincidence that got blown up by social media. Ephesians 2-6 offers another way to see it. "And God raised us up with Christ and seated us with him in the heavenly realms in Christ Jesus." This verse doesn't argue right or wrong. It simply says the spiritual reality is right there alongside us, beyond what our senses can catch, and sometimes it peeks through in images that make us stop and think. Whether you look at it through science or faith, one thing is clear. That cloud, with a human face, woke up the feeling that the sky isn't just empty space. When the light finally faded, the lingering sense left us wondering, was this just a rare visual moment, or a sign that a bigger door is slowly opening ahead? 6. A strange, floating city hanging in the clouds over Thailand. Right in the middle of thick clouds colored by the sunset, tall buildings suddenly appear, stacked up like a full city just floating in the sky. The light bounces off them so they glow softly, then fade away like the clouds are swallowing them up. It leaves you with all kinds of questions. That moment grabs your attention because the normal line between sky and earth just gets broken. The coastal area in Thailand has the perfect weather setup for this. Hot air right above the sea, cooler air higher up. That bends the light a lot. Weather experts call it a fata morgana, a special kind of mirage. It can lift up ships or faraway cities, sometimes miles away, and make them look like they're hanging in the sky for just a few minutes. Then the temperature layers shift and it all disappears. In that viral video, you see shapes like high-rise buildings lined up with clear edges. The bottoms blend right into the clouds, like they're sitting on nothing. The light sparkles as the sun moves, almost like the city is breathing. The whole thing lasts only a short time, just long enough to catch on camera, just long enough to make you wonder. Then the sky goes back to normal. A lot of folks thought of Revelation 21:2 when they saw it. "I saw the holy city, the New Jerusalem, coming down out of heaven from God, prepared as a bride, beautifully dressed for her husband." The Bible isn't talking about the physics of how it happens. It's showing a picture of a city from heaven, way beyond our everyday logic, appearing in a way that makes people look up in wonder. Hebrews 11:10 goes deeper with that idea. "For he was looking forward to the city with foundations, whose architect and builder is God." When you put that next to a Fata Morgana mirage, many people feel like science explains how the image forms, but the Bible points to the deeper meaning, the feeling that rises up when you see a city that doesn't belong on this earth. Experts in atmospheric physics say this kind of mirage happens again and again in tropical areas. It's been seen in China, Japan, and Southeast Asia. Still, people who watched it in Thailand talked about a mix of hope and unease, like they got a quick glimpse of another reality. In that moment, you're not just watching, you feel invited to think about bigger things. John 14:2 wraps it up with a promise. "In my Father's house are many rooms." That city in the clouds may only last a minute or two, but it leaves a strong echo about a place that's already prepared. If it's just an illusion from light and air, one question still hangs there. How close is that spiritual reality it reminds us of? And when the sky opens up again, what will show up clearly? 7. A huge round hole right through the clouds created a mysterious empty space over Massachusetts. A giant gray cloud hung low in the sky over Massachusetts, and suddenly, a perfect round hole appeared right in the middle. The edges were sharp, like someone had cut it out, and bright white light poured down through it, even though the ground below stayed dark and gloomy. The moment was caught on video long enough to spread around, clear enough to shock people, and strange enough to make us realize the sky had just shown a gap we couldn't easily ignore. The video, recorded by a man from Mexico who lives in Massachusetts, shows the round hole sitting perfectly inside the big cloud mass. The borders are even, not distorted at all, and the light inside looks much brighter than the area around it. The strange sight lasted for tens of minutes without the wind tearing it apart right away. It felt like a window hanging up there in the sky. For a lot of folks who saw it, the first feeling wasn't curiosity. It was a kind of unease that's hard to put into words. According to weather records, this is called a fall streak hole or punch hole cloud. It usually forms in altocumulus or cirrocumulus clouds when supercooled water suddenly freezes all at once. A small disturbance, sometimes from a plane flying through, can set off a chain reaction where ice crystals drop out, leaving a round, empty spot. Scientists call the process the Wegener-Bergeron-Findeisen mechanism in modern meteorology. But this case in Massachusetts made a number of experts pause and look longer. The hole sat near the center of a big cloud. The light coming through made a strong contrast, and it stuck around longer than usual. Some observers pointed out that the area wasn't right under heavy commercial flight paths at the time, which makes the story a bit more complicated than the textbook examples. Isaiah 34:4 once described a shocking image. All the host of heaven shall be dissolved, and the heavens shall be rolled together as a scroll, and all their host shall fall down. When you put that next to a sky that looks cut open, many people feel the Bible is warning about how fragile the structure is that we think of as permanent. For a moment, the sky wasn't a steady cover anymore. Revelation 6:14 takes that feeling even further. And the heaven departed as a scroll when it is rolled together. And every mountain and island were moved out of their places. That round hole in the clouds isn't just something to look at. It becomes a symbol that the sky can open up, roll back, or change in ways beyond what we expect. Joel 2:30 stresses, "And I will shew wonders in the heavens and in the earth." This verse often comes up when talking about warning signs, where natural events serve to wake people up rather than just entertain. For those who watched the sky in Massachusetts that day, the common feeling was that the physical world had just shown a very thin crack. Science gives us the models, the terms, and the diagrams to explain it, but it can't wipe away the visual and emotional impact that hole left behind. When an empty space opens up in the clouds, the question shifts from how did it form to what is it trying to remind us of? If the sky can open that clearly, what might show itself the next time it happens? 8. A fiery ring appeared in the sky over Indonesia. Right in the middle of a dark, stormy sky over Surabaya, a bright circle of fire showed up in the black clouds. It turned slowly and steadily, like a giant wheel hanging there in the air. The orange-purple glow was sharp and clear around the edges, and it felt both overwhelming and a little creepy. That moment made us realize there are sights in the sky that go way beyond anything we usually expect. The video that spread fast showed the fiery ring holding its shape for a few minutes, spinning clearly before it started to fade. Thick, dark clouds all around made the light stand out even more, almost like something separate was moving up there on its own. For folks who saw it in person, the first feeling was fear mixed with curiosity, because that steady circular motion made it seem like it was done on purpose. Some people watching suggested it might be a rare optical effect maybe from lenticular clouds or iridescent ones getting hit by high-altitude swirling winds, so the light reflects and looks like it's turning. On social media, plenty of folks wondered if the video was faked or edited, since the colors and shape looked almost too perfect compared to normal sky events. At the same time, the old Project Blue Beam conspiracy came up again. People saying hologram and laser tech could create fake religious signs to mess with people's beliefs worldwide. Revelation 13 got brought up a lot here. The Bible talks about powers making big signs that shock the whole world. It performs great signs, even making fire come down from heaven in front of people. Those words feel like a warning. Not so much explaining how it works, but showing how images like that can trick us big time. Matthew 24:24 goes further about the danger. For false Christs and false prophets will arise and perform great signs and wonders, so that, if possible, even the elect might be led astray. Put next to this spinning fire ring over Surabaya, that warning hits closer to home. It's a reminder that not every bright light means something good or saving. 2 Thessalonians 2:9-10 takes it even deeper about the power of deception. The coming of the lawless one is by the activity of Satan with all power and false signs and wonders, and with all wicked deception. In this light, the Bible acts like a charge sheet against anything that dazzles us with pictures but hides the real truth underneath. Skeptics point out there's no confirmation from major news outlets, so it's hard to verify, and they remind everyone there's a long history of viral videos that turn out to be misleading. On the other side, people who believe in signs see this fiery ring as a clear wake-up call about a time of clever deception where the line between tech, nature, and spiritual stuff gets really thin. Whether it's a real optical thing, some kind of tech, or staged, that spinning fire ring in the dark clouds still does something scary. It stirs up fear in a lot of people at once and brings back warnings about signs that hit our eyes harder than they speak truth. When the sky can put on a show that gets the whole world talking, the question still hanging there is, if this is just the warm-up, what bigger scene is being set up behind it? 9. The sky in Utah glitches with a thunderclap out of a clear blue sky. The video starts with a shot that stops you cold. Bright blue sky, sun high up, then a sharp crack rips through the air. Right then, the light around the sun warps and stretches out into jagged cracks, like glass shattering from the inside. If you were standing there in that peaceful-looking spot, would you even trust your own eyes? The homeowner who recorded this is in Utah, where the sky's usually big and dry, and stuff like this doesn't happen often. No storm clouds, no warning signs, just a regular sunny day that suddenly breaks apart. The camera catches the space bending for a few seconds, then it smooths back out, leaving this weird, empty feeling that's hard to shake. That distortion doesn't stay put. It spreads across the whole sky, like the whole thing just had a display error. A second boom comes after, lower, heavier, then everything goes dead quiet. No aftershocks, no physical traces, just this cold video holding on to the moment when reality seemed to slip off its usual track. People jumped in with explanations fast. Some say it's just an optical trick, light bending through hot air layers, making wavy mirage effects. Others mention shock waves from military flight tests that happen quietly around there sometimes. Those sound reasonable, but they don't quite wipe away the uneasy feeling that thunder out of nowhere leaves behind. Revelation 6:12-14 talks about it. The sky receded like a scroll being rolled up, and every mountain and island was moved from its place. Seeing the sky in this clip get pulled and folded like that, those old words suddenly feel more like a strange hint than a strict answer. It doesn't explain what happened, but it puts it in a bigger picture. Isaiah 34:4 goes on, "All the host of heaven shall rot away, and the skies roll up like a scroll." That description isn't about tech or weather. It's about the whole order changing. The sky no longer holding its familiar shape. Put next to that quick warp in the video, the similarity is tough to ignore. Of course, science has its place, and the technical or physics explanations can't just be tossed out because of feelings. But that boom right in the middle of clear, open sky is what makes every explanation feel a little shaky. It's like a puzzle piece that doesn't quite fit the sensible picture we're used to. Maybe what really matters isn't what this thing was, but the feeling it left. A short moment when the sky wasn't solid anymore, when the most stable thing we know shook and twisted. And if those twists aren't random, but the first quiet sign of something bigger starting to form, then this clip from Utah might just be the opening line. 10. Night rainbow at Park Merced, California. In the middle of the night, when it seemed like there were only streetlights and quiet windows, a band of color suddenly appeared in the sky over Park Merced. It wasn't lightning, not fireworks, but a soft, curved glow, shades of purple, pink, and blue, quietly cutting through the darkness. The moment came so fast that people stopped their cars, looked up, and wondered, have you ever thought the dark night could carry the color of hope? Isaiah 55:10-11 feels like the first key to unlock that feeling. Just as rain and snow come down from heaven, so my word that goes out from my mouth will not return empty. That light in the night isn't just a physical thing. It reminds us of promises that come down right when we need them, quietly but strong enough to wake up sleeping faith. Two different videos from the same area show that band of light wasn't boring at all. Sometimes it twisted gently like silk. Other times it spread out into a soft arch, colors shifting slowly like it was breathing. In the peaceful neighborhood of San Francisco, the sight created a strange, quiet moment where people just stood still and watched. Revelation 4:3 adds a deeper layer. Around the throne was a rainbow resembling an emerald. In the Bible, a rainbow isn't just pretty, it's a sign of God's presence and promise, showing up even when everything around is dark. Science gives the usual explanations. It could be a rare moonbow, where moonlight reflects through mist, or shimmering clouds that only appear under special conditions, or maybe even aurora pushed down to lower latitudes by strong solar activity. Those make sense, but they don't take away from how rare and moving those vivid colors felt. Genesis 9:13 brings back the basic promise. I have set my rainbow in the clouds, and it will be the sign of the covenant between me and the earth. Reading that, the nighttime glow stops being just light. It becomes a reminder that even in chaos, the promise is still there, steady, and not swallowed by the dark. What makes this special isn't where it showed up, but when. At a time when so many feel tired, anxious, and lost, a gentle streak of color chose the night to appear. Not overwhelming, not showy, just enough to say hope doesn't need sunlight to exist. And as that band of light slowly faded into the night sky, the question that stayed wasn't about what caused it physically. Is it a promise of a dawn coming soon, or the last bit of light before darkness closes in? That depends on how each of us opens our heart to see and trust. Here are 10 signs that have passed, like 10 scattered puzzle pieces across the sky and the earth. They look different in shape, but they all point in the same direction. When you put them side by side, they stop feeling like separate events. Instead, they become a quiet stream, quietly guiding people toward a deeper awareness of the time we're living in. Each sign is like a gentle tap, not to scare anyone, but to wake up the spiritual part of us that's easy to forget amid all the noise of daily life. Matthew 24-42 stands as the central reminder for this whole journey. Therefore, keep watch, because you do not know on what day your Lord will come. That Bible verse isn't meant to spread fear. It puts us in a place of inner readiness, where faith doesn't fall asleep and our conscience stays awake and clear. Looking back at these 10 signs, we see one message repeating: the sky and the world are not silent. From strange sounds in a clear sky, to images that look warped like reality itself is bending, to soft bands of light appearing in the dark of night. All of them share the same traits. They come suddenly and leave quickly. 2 Peter 3:10 describes it powerfully. The day of the Lord will come like a thief. The heavens will disappear with a roar. It helps us understand that the important thing isn't trying to guess the exact time. What matters is keeping our hearts straight and sensitive. Amid all the scientific debates, technical explanations, and even the skepticism, the Bible doesn't argue or fight back. It quietly holds up a mirror to our hearts. Hebrews 3:15 reminds us, "Today, if you hear his voice, do not harden your hearts." When we look into that mirror, each of us knows what needs fixing, what to let go of, and what to return to at the core. At this point, we can take a quiet moment to write down a short prayer or personal thought in the comments, like a little personal marker on our faith journey. If this series has touched someone's heart, sharing it would help others not miss the next messages that keep coming regularly on the channel. Revelation 22:20 closes with a promise and hope. Yes, I am coming soon. In that spirit, we offer sincere thanks to everyone who's walked along with us, and we pray that every family stays covered by peace and protection from above. Amen.
Wave of anti-ICE demonstrations planned across Southern California as part of a nationwide action known as
Australia. Rescuers are trying to save dozens of pilot whales after almost 200.
What the?
Where is the world heading when violence breaks out right in the heart of cities? The ground shakes, rivers turn strange colors, and the sky shows things we've never seen before. This isn't just random news popping up online anymore. It's a string of events happening one after another, fast, strong, and with no sign of slowing down. 10 phenomena are showing up all at once. People turning against people, nature hitting back hard, animals acting in unusual ways, and signs up in the sky that make anyone who sees them stop and stare. Each event is like a piece of a puzzle, forcing us to look at a much bigger picture that's coming together. Are you just watching out of curiosity, or is there a question in your heart that you haven't dared to say out loud yet? If you're feeling this urgency too, please leave a prayer in the comments below and keep walking with me to find the real answer, okay? And so you don't have to wait long, we'll jump right in with 1. Fierce attack on the ICE facility in Los Angeles. People living in chaos. Violence broke out right in the heart of Los Angeles. Broken glass, barriers knocked down, tear gas filling the streets around downtown. The Federal Metropolitan Detention Center became the main hotspot as crowds rushed in, yelling, smashing things, and blocking entrances and exits. In moments like this, we're not just watching some far-off news story. We're seeing a society turning against itself on our own streets. From City Hall, a long line of people stretched across several blocks, heading toward the Edward R. Roybal Federal Building and then pushing right up to the Metropolitan Detention Center. Thousands threw bottles, rocks, and shoved a big dumpster in front of the loading dock, forcing law enforcement to declare an unlawful assembly. Pepper balls and tear gas were used to break up the crowd. Many were arrested, and the area went on tactical alert. According to Fox News, traffic around the city center was paralyzed for hours, and residents had to keep their windows shut tight because the tear gas spread so far. The conflict isn't just what's happening on the streets, it's rooted in much deeper causes. Tough immigration policies have split people into two strong sides. One sees attacking a federal building as necessary resistance. The other sees it as the breakdown of law and order. LAPD officers and ICE agents stood face to face with a crowd in riot gear. It felt like a battle line right in the middle of America's second largest city. Public reaction has been strong and deeply divided. Supporters call it the long-suppressed voice finally breaking out. Others fear The violence is spreading too fast and getting out of control. Those trying to stop it call for order, but they get swept up in the same chaos. Matthew 24:7 warned about this. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places, a picture of conflict spreading from deep human roots. Tensions are rising by the hour, and the worry is no longer just hypothetical. Scattered clashes quickly merged into one big wave, showing how fragile social order can be when political disagreements turn into open violence. Matthew 24:6 reminds us, "You will hear of wars and rumors of wars, but see to it that you are not alarmed. Such things must happen, but the end is still to come." When peace is taken from the streets, the image of the red horse in Revelation 6-4 becomes haunting. Its rider was given power to take peace from the earth and to make people kill each other. To him was given a large sword. What happened in Los Angeles isn't just a protest that went too far. It's a sign of deep division, where violence has become the way people talk. If this fire spreads to other cities, how much farther will America go down the path of chaos? And where does it stop when the last boundaries disappear? 2. The Sky Gate opens over Barrie, Canada. Giant pillars of light pierce the night sky. That night in Barrie, the sky didn't just slowly get dark like usual. It suddenly lit up bright, like someone yanked open a huge door right in the middle of the air. The light didn't flash and disappear. It stood straight up in tall, clear columns. People walking had to stop, look up, and just stand there frozen for a few seconds, not sure what was happening. Barrie, Ontario, is a quiet little city by Lake Simcoe. Winter nights there are usually freezing cold and very still. The temperature drops way down, the air barely moves, and the sky is clear with no clouds. Right in that normal setting, something strange showed up and completely broke the peace with a sight nobody expected. The person filming caught the moment the weird light started forming overhead. Then, in just a few seconds, a bunch of straight-up light pillars shot from the ground high into the sky, brighter than the streetlights around them. These pillars weren't steady. They got brighter and dimmer, spread out across a big part of the sky, and felt more like beams coming down from above than bouncing up from below. The sight was hard to pin on anything familiar right away. No loud boom, no airplane, no obvious moving machinery, just light hanging there in the air long enough for people to get startled, pull out their phones, and start wondering what in the world they were seeing. Matthew 24:29 has a line worth thinking about. Right after those days of trouble, the sun will go dark, the moon won't give light, the stars will fall from the sky to the earth, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken. The Bible passage doesn't describe the exact shape, but it stresses strange changes in the sky as a sign you can't just ignore. Once the video spread online, people quickly split into different opinions. Some felt it was a spiritual warning, a rare sign showing up at just the right time in a world full of upheaval. Others were more careful and said, let's wait for a scientific explanation before reading too much into it. Revelation 6:12-13 goes further. I looked, and there was a great earthquake. The sun became black like sackcloth. The full moon became like blood. And the stars of the sky fell to the earth like unripe figs, shaken loose by a strong wind. This isn't about one single event. It's a whole series of big changes up above, way beyond normal order. Scientists say what happened in Barrie was probably light pillars. They form when light from street lamps reflects off tiny hexagonal ice crystals floating in very cold air. A lot of folks accept that explanation, but it still doesn't completely wipe away the feeling that the moment touched something deeper than just a cool thing to look at. Acts 2:19 puts it plainly. I will show wonders in the sky above and signs on the earth below. The words don't push anyone to rush to conclusions. They just call for staying awake and aware. If the sky can suddenly change like that on a calm night, what might be coming when those signs start showing up more often, more clearly, and can't be brushed off as just a simple explanation anymore. 3. Huge swarms of locusts are wiping out southern Ukraine. Crops are being destroyed, and hunger is knocking at the door. Southern Ukraine is shaken as the sky suddenly turns dark, with thick black clouds of locusts pouring down onto the fields. The sound of their wings clashing drowns out the wind, and crops get flattened in just a few hours. It started in Zaporizhia, then spread to Dnipro, Kherson, and reached Odessa. The advance of these swarms has broken rural life apart, emptied grain stores bit by bit, and left fear hanging over every home. Does this scene remind you of something? Local farm reports say the damage covers hundreds of thousands of acres of sunflower and cornfields, key food sources. In some spots, they've lost up to a third of the crop in just a few days. The locusts are so thick they block out the sunlight. Each one is almost as big as a person's hand. They cover the ground and cling to plants, making every attempt to chase them away feel useless, especially with control efforts disrupted. Joel 1-4 puts it plainly. What the locust swarm has left, the great locusts have eaten. What the great locusts have left, the young locusts have eaten. It describes a chain of destruction, leaving bare fields behind and spreading fear of hunger faster than the wind. Farmers in the affected provinces say spraying and containment got delayed because of the ongoing conflict. Monitoring systems broke down, and dry weather helped the eggs hatch all at once. Damage numbers keep rising daily. Whole fields vanish from the farming map, pushing local grain prices way up. Joel 2:25 adds a promise and a warning. I will repay you for the years the locusts have eaten, the great locusts and the young locusts, the other locusts, and the locust swarm. The words aren't just about loss. They raise questions about when and how recovery might come. Ecologists point out this comes from harsh weather combined with the war. They say once things stabilize, pesticides and better crop management could bring the numbers under control. On the other hand, people who read the Bible see a familiar pattern of food disasters, where tiny creatures shake an entire region. Revelation 9-3-4 describes. And out of the smoke locusts came down on the earth. They were given power to torment people who did not have the seal of God on their foreheads. Unquote. End quote. The matching imagery leaves many people quiet, because the harm isn't just to plants, it reaches into people's lives. Between these two views, the hard reality keeps moving forward with cold numbers and daily worry about what's on the table. As the swarms keep spreading, we're standing at the edge of something bigger, where questions about food around the world still have no clear answer. 4. Huge swarm of armored critters takes over a car at the Cape of Good Hope. They flood in like a living nightmare come true. The family car sits quiet by the rocky edge at the Cape of Good Hope, but when they open the door, what they see inside stops everybody cold. Dozens of shiny, hard-shelled creatures crawl all over the seats, the dashboard, even the steering wheel, like the ocean just poured straight into the car in just a few minutes. The Cape of Good Hope is known for its rough, rocky shores and that salty, damp air all year round, where half-land, half-sea critters like Legia hang out right near the waterline. After a short walk up to the cliffs, the family comes back and finds their car has turned into an unwilling hideout, covered with these big armored bugs moving around non-stop. It gives you that creepy feeling, like a bad dream crawling around in broad daylight. They spill out from the door cracks, crawl under the floor mats, cling to the windows and handles, moving fast and all together. It makes your skin crawl just watching. The family has to shout and chase them off, washing every corner with water, but the sight of those shiny, hard shells scurrying everywhere in the tight space still sticks in their minds. If it was you, what would go through your head seeing something like that? Revelation 9-5-6 brings up a haunting thought. They were given power to torment them for 5 months. In those days, people will look for death but won't find it. They'll long to die. but death will flee from them. It's that picture of something bothering you on and on, wearing you down inside, making folks think of that helpless feeling when you face something way beyond normal control. Marine biologists say this probably happens because the critters are looking for a damp, warm spot, especially if the coastal weather shifts suddenly. A car parked near the rocks makes a perfect draw, and the heavy gathering is just their natural survival instinct kicking in. The science side stresses it's all a normal chain of events, nothing supernatural about it. Joel 2-23 gives another angle. A mighty nation, huge in number. Before them, the land is like the Garden of Eden. Behind them, a wasteland. Nothing escapes them. The old words describe how these tiny creatures, when they show up all at once, can spread and change a familiar place in the blink of an eye. Between those two views, a lot of people stay somewhere in the middle, watching carefully without jumping to conclusions. Some see it as a reminder of how fragile the balance is between people and nature. Others figure it's just a shocking coincidence that social media blew up big. Every take reflects the different beliefs and life experiences of whoever's looking at it. No matter how you explain it, that moment when the car got taken over still leaves a quiet question hanging about whether the natural order is shifting its rhythm. When little creatures start crossing lines they usually don't, is it just a weird beach scene? Or the first sign of bigger changes waiting up ahead? 5. The Rimac River in Lima, Peru, turned blood red. The Rimac changed color in just one morning, bright red like blood flowing right through the heart of Lima. That moment made people stop and take notice. The city's main water source, something folks are so used to, suddenly turned a shocking red. Pictures and videos spread fast on social media, hitting people hard. Many just stood by the riverbank, looking stunned and uneasy. The Rimac isn't some far-off river. It supports millions of people in Peru's capital. It runs straight through the city center, tied to daily life, the economy, and history. When the whole wide stretch of the river, from the Trujillo Bridge down to Chabuca Granda Avenue, turned red all at once, this wasn't just some odd thing. It hit the very lifeblood of the city. Videos show the water bright red, catching the sunlight like a giant spill of paint. Crowds lined both sides of the banks, taking pictures, talking it over. A lot of eyes stared at that water, with real worry about pollution and some pretty heavy thoughts. Officials said the water still tested okay and met standards, but that general explanation just added to the confusion and questions hanging in the air. Revelation 16:4 comes across like a blunt warning. The third angel poured out his bowl on the rivers and springs of water, and they became blood. The words don't add feelings. They just state what happened and the result, much like this event, direct and hard to ignore. Exodus 7:20 adds to that old memory. Moses and Aaron did just as the Lord had commanded, and all the water in the river turned to blood. In that story, water changing color wasn't just an environmental mishap. It stood as proof of judgment power recorded long ago. From a science angle, environmental experts suggest it could be a red algae bloom, minerals washing down from upstream, or industrial waste changing the water's color. These explanations draw from similar cases in other rivers, pointing to natural causes mixed with human impact, no supernatural hints. The two ways of seeing it create a clear tension. One side treats it as a chemical or biological reaction we can figure out and handle. The other sees it as a serious sign of moral decline and broken natural order. Both views exist side by side, but the red on the water is real and can't be denied. The Rimac keeps flowing, but that image hasn't left people's minds. When your drinking water source turns the color of blood, the warning feels louder than ever. And if that red doesn't stop at one river, what might be waiting ahead for other cities? 6. A flock of wild turkeys marches in a perfect circle around something dead. A weird ritual, or just natural instinct. In a quiet suburban street, a scene unfolded that gave a lot of folks the chills. A tight, closed circle moving slowly, so perfect it was hard to believe. A group of wild turkeys appeared like they stepped out of some mysterious story, creating an eerie feeling right away. We realize some sights don't fit easily into everyday life. The viral video shows more than 15 turkeys lined up neatly, walking around a small dead animal lying still in the road, most likely a cat. Each one keeps almost exactly the same distance, steps in sync, forming a non-stop circle that looks more like an ancient ceremony than random animal behavior. The spot was a suburb in the US, where wild turkeys often show up looking for food. Still, seeing the whole flock gathered around something dead, not attacking, not leaving, just quietly circling, created a strange, slightly spooky atmosphere. Watching it, you can feel unease creeping in because the movement seems so deliberate. Luke chapter 21, verse 11, comes to mind for many people as a hint. There will be great earthquakes, famines, and pestilences in various places, and fearful events and great signs from heaven. The Bible verse doesn't describe this exact thing, but it opens the idea of terrifying signs appearing in ordinary life. Romans 8:22 sheds light from another angle. We know that the whole creation has been groaning, as in the pains of childbirth, right up to the present time. When nature shows unusual behavior, plenty of folks believe it's the natural world sighing over deep brokenness. On forums, debates go in all directions. Some see it as a spiritual sign, thinking animals sense invisible changes humans haven't noticed yet. Others stick to science, calling it predator inspection, a group behavior where the flock checks out a possible danger. The turkeys are curious but cautious, so they move in a safe circle. A few say social media blew it up, turning a basic instinct into a mysterious tale. On the other hand, many point out how hard it is to describe the feeling when you see that perfect sync, because instinct doesn't always create such strong, almost symbolic pictures. So what do you think? Is this pure biology, or is there a deeper message hidden in it? No matter how you look at it, the image of turkeys marching around death leaves a big question mark. When animals act way beyond what we expect, it stirs up faith for some and keeps curiosity alive without a final answer. And if these quiet ceremonies start showing up more often, what might be waiting behind nature's curtain? 7. Soil turning to liquid in Japan. Earthquake turns solid ground into deadly mud. The ground we always thought was safe to stand on suddenly changes right in front of your eyes. In a video spreading from Japan, the road shakes hard, then turns soft like mud. Cars tilt and lean, buildings sink in parts, making a scene that's both strange and shocking. We see something scary. The thing that seemed the most solid can betray people in just a few seconds. Japan has long sat on the Pacific Ring of Fire, where tectonic plates keep crashing into each other. Earthquakes happen a lot there, but this time, the pictures show something way beyond the usual shaking. Water and sand shoot up from underground, roads crack open, house foundations sink noticeably, and whole areas look like they're melting. In parts of Shimane Prefecture, liquefaction happened over a large area. Groundwater gets forced up to the surface, carrying sand and mud with it, turning dry land into thick, soupy muck. Roads buckle and twist, power poles lean over, many low buildings drop several feet in moments, giving a creepy feeling that's hard to put into words. When you watch the frames again, you can easily see the panic in people's faces as the ground beneath them loses its shape. It's not just one sinkhole. Whole big sections move together, leaving people feeling lost and disoriented, where survival instinct gets tested hard. Matthew 24:7 comes to mind, like a familiar but heavy warning. Nation will rise against nation, and kingdom against kingdom. There will be famines and earthquakes in various places. Earthquakes aren't new to us anymore, but when the ground itself turns to liquid, that prophecy takes on a real, frightening shape like never before. Revelation 16:18 pushes the feeling even higher. There came flashes of lightning, rumblings, peals of thunder, and a great earthquake, such as had never been since man was on the earth. The sight of the ground breaking apart under people's feet brings to mind a shaking that goes beyond normal natural disasters, as if the natural order itself is being turned upside down. Scientists explain that liquefaction happens when strong shaking increases water pressure in the soil, making the dirt particles lose contact and behave like a liquid. Technically, it's a known phenomenon that has happened in many big earthquakes before, in Japan and California. Still, when you put the two views side by side, the big question remains. Science describes the how, while the Bible points to the meaning. One talks about pressure and soil structure, the other about a shaking people can't control. Two ways of looking at it, running parallel, but the uneasy feeling those images leave behind is very real. Liquefaction doesn't just destroy buildings, it shakes our trust in the stability of the physical world. If the ground under us can turn to liquid, what else is solid enough to hold on to? And as these kinds of shakings keep happening, where will humanity's final place of safety be? 8. A tree shooting water like a spring in the forest. A magical moment from nature. Deep in the woods, a tree trunk that had just been cut suddenly sprayed water out like a fountain. The clear stream shot straight up into the air, leaving everyone who saw it stunned. It happened so fast, completely breaking what we usually expect from trees and forest ground. We were looking at something really rare, a moment where life showed itself in a way that makes your mind pause for a second. The group of explorers was moving through thick jungle, rough and wet terrain all around, with big old trees everywhere. When they cut across a large hollow trunk, water burst out suddenly, steady and strong, just like a hidden spring had been set free. The light bouncing off the water made it look both beautiful and strange, hard to explain with simple words. The water flowed evenly, cool, and so clear you could see tiny bubbles in it. A few people washed their faces, touched the stream with their hands, then cautiously tasted it, full of wonder. You could feel what everyone was feeling right then, amazement, mixed with the quiet belief that nature still holds surprises we never saw coming. John 4:14 comes to mind as an explanation for this moment. But whoever drinks the water I give them will never thirst again. The water I give will become in them a spring of water welling up to eternal life. The picture of water gushing from the tree trunk reminds us of life being given freely, not just for the body, but for the spirit that's thirsty for meaning. Revelation 22:1 builds on that. Then the angel showed me the river of the water of life, as clear as crystal, flowing from the throne of God and of the Lamb. That stream in the deep forest suddenly felt like a symbol, life pouring out in a world full of change and trouble. From a science view, experts say this happens when underground water is under high pressure and hits a hollow tree trunk that acts like a pipe. When the tree is cut, the pressure releases and the water shoots out hard. It's rare to see, but still follows nature's rules. Comparing the two views, one focuses on the physical how, water pressure and tree structure. The other sees a message beyond the physical. Science explains the way it works. The Bible opens up the meaning. Both ways exist side by side, so the same sight carries different layers of understanding. In the middle of so many worrying and chaotic things going on, this water shooting from a tree becomes a sign of hope. It reminds us that life is still being given, even in places nobody expects. And if more springs like this keep showing up, could they be quietly signaling a bigger renewal flowing through the world right now? 9. Hundreds of whales beached in Tasmania. A mass tragedy. What's really behind it? 150 of them, not little fish, but big bodies, dozens of feet long, weighing tons each, lying piled on top of one another on the cold sand in Tasmania. As the sun rose, the Arthur River beach turned into a long stretch of dying creatures, the seawater pulling farther back, while the whale's heavy breathing came in short, labored gasps. Have you ever seen the whole ocean stuck on dry land like that? Tasmania has long been a hotspot for mass strandings, especially with pilot whales and false killer whales, but this time, the scale went way beyond anything expected. More than 150 whales swam right into shallow water, not panicking, not scattering, just heading straight in like they were following an unseen command. It didn't look like a random accident. It looked like the whole group moving together in the wrong direction. Rescue teams got there fast, using boats, ropes, and every method they had. Some whales were pulled back out to deeper water, but most were too weak. Many had to be put down to end their pain. The ones still alive just lay there quietly, their huge bodies slowly rising and falling. No signs of fear, just the entire pod completely obeying a leader that had lost its way. Hosea 4:3 puts it plainly, "Because of this, the land dries up, and all who live in it waste away. The beasts of the field, the birds in the sky, and the fish in the sea are swept away." This verse isn't about scattered single deaths. It's about all creation collapsing together. What's happening in Tasmania fits that pattern exactly. No spreading out, no trying to escape, just a collective collapse. Scientists have offered several ideas: problems with magnetic navigation, the lead whale being sick, sonar disruption from military exercises. They all make sense on the surface, but none fully explain why the whole group would follow so completely that they drove themselves to death. Animals have a very strong survival instinct, unless something stronger than that instinct is taking over. Romans 8:22 says, "We know that the whole creation has been groaning, as in the pains of childbirth, right up to the present time." It's not just people feeling the consequences. All living things are responding with their own breakdown. When nature can't adjust anymore to keep life going, that's when the old order has been broken from the root. The event in Tasmania isn't just a sad story from some far-off beach. It's a real, living warning in flesh and blood, showing that death isn't coming one by one anymore, it's coming in groups. If the animals have started down a path of collective endings, then what lies ahead for humankind? 10. Two suns in the Russian sky. Strange illusion or a sign the universe is shaking? In the icy cold Russian sky, there's a picture that leaves people stunned. Two suns hanging up there at the same time. One is the familiar bright ball of fire, and right above it sits another clear, round glow that's just as sharp and bright. The moment was caught on video for only a few seconds, but it got the whole internet buzzing. What would run through your mind if our everyday sky suddenly showed an extra sun? It happened in a very deep freeze area, where the air is thick with frost and mist. In that kind of cold, light doesn't travel straight like usual. When the sun sits low on the horizon, its light bends, reflects, and seems to float there in the sky, making everything feel like the world just changed its rules. The folks who saw it didn't start talking science. They just stood there quietly, looked up, and filmed without a word. In the videos that spread like wildfire, the two suns don't flicker or warp. They just hang there, side by side, making the ground below look stretched, familiar, but strange at the same time. It isn't fear you feel. It's more like being overwhelmed, as if the sky is trying to tell us something with its own language of light. A quick event, but it leaves a lasting echo. Joel 2:30-31 says, "I will show wonders in the heavens and on the earth, blood, fire, and pillars of smoke. The sun will turn dark, the moon will turn to blood, before the great and terrible day of the Lord comes." These words aren't only about things going dark. They're about the heavenly bodies changing when the normal order doesn't stay the same. Skeptics jump in fast with explanations. They say it's a parhelion, or sundog, from ice crystals in the air, bending the sunlight. On the physics side, that can be right. But the question isn't really the how, it's the when and how often. When odd sky pictures keep popping up more and more, they stop feeling like rare happenings. Matthew 24-29 warns, "Right after those days of trouble, the sun will be darkened, the moon won't give its light, stars will fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens will be shaken." When Scripture talks about shaking, it means what used to be solid starts to wobble, not just out in space, but in how people see things too. The two suns didn't burn up the earth, but they did shake our usual feeling of safety. The sky, which we always thought was steady and unchanging, now turns into a stage for things we never expected. It's not a loud threat with thunder. It's a soft but clear nudge that the universe isn't standing still and time doesn't last forever. When the light above isn't single anymore, faith gets hit with a straight question. Will we keep explaining it all away to feel okay? Or will we pause and listen to whatever message is behind those signs? With two suns showing up together, is the end really still far off like we tend to think? Looking back at everything that's happened, the picture isn't just scattered pieces of strange events anymore. It's one steady flow of signs, coming one after another. Up in the sky, down on the earth, in nature, and right in the middle of human society, everything is moving to an uneasy rhythm you can't really deny. This isn't just something fun to talk about or a passing curiosity anymore. It's time for each of us to stop and ask ourselves, where do I stand in this flow? Matthew 24-42 reminds us, so keep watch, because you don't know what day your Lord will come. Being awake isn't about living in fear. It's about clearly understanding that time isn't endless. When these signs keep piling up fast, it's not to scare people into panic. It's to wake up the spirit that's been asleep for too long amid all the comfort and noise of life. Even in the middle of all these changes, the door of grace is still open. 2 Peter 3-9 says, "The Lord isn't slow about his promise, as some people think, but he is patient with you, not wanting anyone to perish, but wanting everyone to come to repentance." That patience isn't an endless delay. It's the final quiet moment for people to turn back and change their path before it's too late. Repentance isn't just words you say out loud. It's a deep change in how you think and how you live. When nature groans and the sky is no longer silent, that's the time for every heart to look at itself in the light of truth. Romans 13:11 warns us, "Our salvation is nearer now than when we first believed." Those words ring out like the last bell of a long night, telling us morning is coming, but also that the darkness has to leave. If these messages touch your heart, don't keep them to yourself. Leave a short prayer or an honest thought from your own life in the comments below as a marker on your own faith journey. That sharing isn't just words. It's a way to let the light spread in a community that's looking for hope. If you feel these messages should reach more people, please show your support by liking, sharing with those around you, and following the channel so you don't miss any reminders in the days ahead. Every small action can become a link in a bigger plan we can't fully see yet. Finally, a heartfelt thank you to everyone who stayed with me until this moment. May God's peace be with you and your family in every situation, protecting and guiding you through the days to come. Amen.
Through the famed Notre Dame Cathedral, French firefighters took on the...
All kinds of weird shit going on, bud.
Is everything happening in the world just random, or are the final signs starting to show themselves? Early in 2026, violence breaks out. Cities fall into chaos. Huge explosions tear through the air, and strange things keep appearing in the sky that nobody can fully explain. It all comes fast, hard, and all at once, so people no longer feel that old sense of safety. In just a short time, social conflicts get worse. Fire and smoke cover everything. Strange objects show up in front of the sun. Unusual lights shoot high into the sky. And big black rings hang there like giant question marks. 10 phenomena, 10 warnings, coming one after another, almost forcing humanity to face a truth that's hard to avoid. Do you still believe everything is under control? The next part won't give easy answers, but it will show why more and more people no longer